We've got common phrases that we use, like rocket scientist, to signify that something was really difficult to figure out and it requires you to be really smart. And we say starving artist, to signify that it's okay that they don't make money.
Right. Yeah.
And so we've normalized these ways of thinking, these mindsets that likely aren't true or are just kind of bent to serve why ever it was intended.
Welcome back to Innovate or Evaporate, where we explore the relentless pace of change and the innovators who drive it. I'm your host, Toph Day. Every few decades, an industry hits an inflection point. The moment technology, culture, and timing all line up at once. Right now, we are watching it happen in the creative economy. The old gatekeepers are losing their grip. We are seeing a wave of visual artists, makers, and creators who are turning their work into serious, sustainable income. The creator class is booming, but the traditional infrastructure, the galleries, the legacy arts fairs, the platforms, is still built on an outdated model that takes a significant cut of the artist's work. 5 years ago, two people looked at that rapidly shifting creative economy and realized if the market is changing, the stage needs to change with it. So they built a new one. In 2021, they launched Butter, a fine art fair with one highly disruptive rule: zero commission, zero entry fee, 100% of the sales go directly into the artist's pocket. It sounds almost too generous to survive, let alone scale. What started as a local experiment quickly became a multi-day cultural phenomenon. They grew from a few thousand visitors to tens of thousands. They've driven well over $1 million in direct artwork sales. And earlier this year, they successfully scaled the model, landing in LA for a sold-out debut during LA Art Week. But behind that rapid growth curve is a deeply personal story. This national brand wasn't built in a Silicon Valley boardroom. It is being built by a married couple who are running a startup, disrupting the national art market, and simultaneously raising 5 kids. This is a conversation about the future of the creative economy, how to scale a business model nobody thought could work, and the messy, beautiful reality of building a legacy with your partner. Molly and Alan Bacon, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
What an amazing intro.
Well, you deserve it. We spent a lot of time on these intros to get this set up, and I've been following your story for years now.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
And I can't believe this is the first time we've gotten to sit down and really talk for a while.
No, for sure, man. Yeah.
And so much has happened.
Yeah, we're excited.
So a lot of times we'll go through kind of a life journey to where we are today.
Okay.
Today I want to flip that on its head a little bit, and we'll just go right at the creative economy. And we were just talking offset before we got started here. I had a conversation last week, and I used to always think about the creative economy with, our artists and our musicians and all of those folks who are doing just incredible things and bringing those to life and selling those and making a living out of them. Recently, somebody talked about, the creative economy is just the art of thinking. And it could be an HVAC company or an AI company or whatever, and people just being creative with how they advance, those companies or come up with new ideas. How do you guys think about the creative economy?
Creative economy, 6 years later, we've been kind of using that term. And so I think of it as a label because that was the intention of the phrase. It's to re-narrate the users of the creative economy. It is to remind us that creators are participating in an economy. It is to, again, reframe, re-narrate, put in the forefront that, a societal budget or a macro economy has a line item for creatives or creators, whether or not there's money there or not.
Yep.
And so the label was a part of our attempt to again, focus on artists and creators and their worth. So when I think of creative economy, I'm reminded of the re-narration that it is a part of, and its intent to remind us of the connection and the relationship between the creative and the economy.
Yeah. Yes, I would keep it disparate as far as the idea of creative thinking and creative economy. They are, I think, pretty distinct. I think that thinking can lend itself to a lot of different, modes. But I mean, when you're thinking economy, you're thinking of economies of scale and commerce and generating, money, just how that, the ROI back off of that. So I think there's this sector idea behind the creative economy that made this work important because we wanted, our artists to move from, what seems like the work is decorative versus like an actual basic need to society. So I think, for us to be able to have a hand in this work to help to, sectors to realize how important, artists are, and how we're driving innovation in a lot of different arenas, not just, food and music and fashion and culture itself, but, there are artists that are working also in other industries that are producing and contributing as well. And those economies are real. And it's great to see Indianapolis grow to the point that we can, realize, what is the creative economy and just how we can support it.
What do you think caused this like awareness or like really bring it to the forefront? Like if you think about it, like innovation, like if we're not creative as a human species, like we can't have any innovation if we're not creative, right? I mean, the invention of the wheel, for example. But like, what did COVID like? It seems like something has really brought this to the forefront, and just the last like 6 years is when we'll
Do
get
you
to
mean
that part in a
locally?
little bit. Locally, but also I feel like I don't remember talking about the creative economy
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. Yeah.
I mean, my brain is asking if I can ask you the opposite question. I mean, to your point, creatives, whatever, artists and creativity has been the backbone of humanity and has been driving innovation since the beginning of time. So the question is, why has it not been at the forefront of society? And why are you questioning, when did this become a thing? Like it has been the thing, so we're on the why not question, and what to do about like keeping it at the forefront and how it should be narrated when it's talked about.
So why do you think it hasn't been?
Racism.
I mean, looking at, there's economies of scale, but there's things that impact, thinking, that, that goes beyond like sometimes it's common understanding. Like, there's a lot of, people of color, that are in the creative economy. So like, out of all the sectors, like, why is that the sector that doesn't have the resources or the support or the amplification or the healthcare or the health insurance? So I think, and that's part of our work as well. So if we're able to advocate, for, art as a basic need, we know what group of people make up that demographic the most. So, I mean, so this is like, sort of, the work that we get to do where you're not just supporting a sector, but you're supporting the people.
Yeah. One thing I've always thought, and we were talking about this before we started the podcast here, like some of the most brilliant like engineers or product managers or folks I've ever worked with when we're trying to bring something new to life are all creatives, right? They're musicians and artists and all those types of things. Because none of our brains work the same, right? All of our brains are different and have different skill sets. And so I think it's really fascinating. I think I never thought about the like the creative economy in the context of like it really drives everything.
We were at 900 North Studios, based here in Indianapolis, just a few weeks ago, checking on the progress of a project, and the metal workers and like the people that have the masks on and they're bending steel and all of that. Like we go to talk to them and they're like, "Yeah, we were Heron students." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is exactly it. This is exactly what you're now talking about."
Yeah.
Of course, we're all artists, of course that's who's here in the studio bending the metal, but that's not their title, and that's not how they're described. And like we probably call them like metal workers or fabricators or something, people that work in a garage, but these are people who studied the arts.
Yeah. And they're homegrown and they're cultivated right here in the city,
Yeah. So I'm gonna go off track real quick on a tangent. I think sometimes there's like adults, we come up with things that make sense to us, but sometimes it can have like unintended consequences with our kids.
Okay.
So we were just talking about, you have 4 kids in college, right?
Yes.
I have one that's
and one in high school.
and one in high school, and I just have one. So I'll be calling you for notes on what I should be doing here over the next 4 years. I'm going to be a mess when I come back home.
I can guarantee we've gone through it. Whatever it is.
4 times.
But I've been asking him and his friends, like, just random questions forever, like ever since kindergarten. And one that sticks out to me a lot is I would ask him, like, have you ever heard of STEM? And in kindergarten, elementary school, it was like, you get the obvious answer of, huh? And then as they started to enter high school, I was really shocked when I got the answer one day, oh, that's only for smart kids.
Oh, yeah. I
And
can see that.
And like people thinking that you have to be quote unquote, book smart or whatever to be in this new AI economy industry, technical, whatever, SaaS companies and
be
all.
A scientist,
all stuff. But there's so many opportunities around any of these industries that where the creative skill sets have massive impact and are critical, right? To bring in products to market, new ideas, et cetera. What do you think about that? Have you seen like that, like where people feel like they don't have a seat at the table because, maybe they're not the nuclear scientist or whatever it is?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, do you know how hard it is to be an architect? You know, but we kind of don't classify that as, the arts. But I do remember even, being in middle school and thinking of like my mom put me in a program called MEPI, the Minority Engineering Program of Indianapolis. And my thought was, with the smart kids, I think society, it goes back to the same thing I was saying before. We've got common phrases that we use, like rocket scientists, to signify that something was really difficult to figure out and requires you to be really smart. And we say starving artist, to signify that it's okay that they don't make money.
Right. Yeah.
And so we've normalized these ways of thinking, these mindsets that likely aren't true or are just kind of bent to serve why-ever it was intended.
Molly, you literally just gave me chills. That is so true. The words that we use, like to your point, starving artists versus like rocket scientists. Why do humans do this? Why do we like to label things and
well, we like hierarchy in groups,
and they're constructs,
it feels safe somehow, maybe, or something.
It's the same thing that STEM is morphed into as well. I mean, it's another type of construct, even to the point where it was STEAM for like a year. When you put the art in there, then it's like, nah, take that shit back out.
They really tried.
They was like, nah, take it out. So it went back to STEM. So but if you think about innovation and just all the stuff we're talking about, man, like music has been probably one of the most innovative, technology infused. I mean, what, from Motown to what Quincy Jones was doing, and the synthesizers and the moves and the chords and just everything. I mean, it's always kind of really been ahead of the curve. So like, if you think of artists not being as, whatever as rockets, they're more brilliant.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, not only I'm genius in this art, I'm also using all this technology to make this beat that's gonna, do X, Y, and Z, or, put together this song or mix this track that's gonna. So I think there's a lot of, to Malina's point, there's these narratives out there that are meant to, control and keep us, in one mindset, like race itself, black or white. What is that?
Yeah.
Another one is the way that what we're talking about is reminding me, I was freaked out a couple weeks ago because I think we're like degrees that are not producing high enough paying jobs are going to be considered as like maybe not even to be offered. And society could tell us that arts jobs are not high paying, and so maybe we shouldn't be offering that. But if you think about entertainment, you don't think about the ceiling in the same way. You don't think about the trajectory in the same way. But entertainment is the arts. We're just not labeling it correctly, and so it's messing up a lot.
That's interesting. So, let's talk about, you started GANGGANG first, right?
Before what?
Butter? Before Butter?
Yes.
Yeah.
So before we talk about GANGGANG and Butter, let's just real quick, your professional backgrounds that took you there? Maybe even what did you dream about when you're in school? Like, what did you dream about?
Yeah.
I want to do X one
I
day.
had 2 jobs that I wanted my whole career. I was set on them in college, and they would still be amazing jobs. I wanted to be the editor of Vogue,
That sounds
and
pretty fun.
or the lead designer. I wouldn't be the lead designer, or advertiser, creative director of Absolute Vodka. Yeah, those were my jobs. I studied advertising. I had a photography minor, and so all of that wraps up into influence and labeling and narrative and psychology by way of things that look amazing, and that's my whole jam.
That's your jam.
That was not my professional background. I don't know what you asked, but
No, that's exactly
No,
what
what
you're
you wanna do.
What did you dream about? What did you
Yeah.
think
what did I
about?
dream about?
Yeah.
Yeah, my 2 jobs. Yeah,
You kind of fall into that dream, though, you know?
exactly. I'm adjacent.
Yeah.
So I'm in the bucket.
My joint, I knew I was gonna win the Grammy at an early age. That came fleeting very fast, over the course of time, man. But I just knew it was gonna be something, in music. And you talk about this work. So my family has a history, in music, especially here in Indianapolis. Trevor Bacon was one of the jazz greats. Gig with Lucky Milner Band and Sister Rosetta Thorpe. My father used to hit with this cast from After 7 and some other stuff in the city. So it's
Wow.
music has always been close and super cool and intentional for me. So that's the But professionally, I was in for-profit education. I was campus president, and that was my bag, for a long time. And I always did, music on the side. And babe, I mean, you've been, art adjacent also, just your entire career.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
So you meet in Nashville in 2013-ish?
Was it
14, 2014, yeah.
So 2014, you meet in Nashville. Where'd you guys meet?
We met on the leadership exchange trip.
But where were we?
The Indie Chamber.
Oh, on the bus.
Yeah,
Well,
on the bus. Yeah.
I mean, technically, I saw him on the bus on the way, but then, we were introduced at the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah, by
Janet Arnold. Shout out.
Shout out to Janet Arnold.
That's awesome. So you have to travel to Nashville so you can meet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't that wild?
Worlds didn't collide until we got to Music City,
That's awesome. All right. So you meet, and was it love at first sight?
No.
Oh, couldn't have been, no. No, we were in different situations at the time, yeah.
We didn't start dating for 5 years. Wait, 3 years after that.
3 years after that?
Yeah.
I'm Mayor Chris Jensen. The companies shaping tomorrow aren't waiting for opportunity. They're choosing environments built for performance. In Noblesville, Innovation Mile connects talent, infrastructure, and innovation leaders in a community designed for growth. Because where you build matters. See why forward-thinking companies are choosing Noblesville at choosenoblesville.com/innovate. Noblesville, all about you.
So what was it? When did you decide that you're going to start GANGGANG? Because that was before Butter. You launched
Right.
Butter,
That
right?
was 2020.
That was in 2020.
Yep.
Yeah.
So talk to us about how did you come to the decision to start GANGGANG? What were those pivotal moments where you're like, this is what we're going to go do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh. So,
And tell us what GANGGANG is as well.
Okay. Yeah. GANGGANG is the nonprofit that we founded. It's an arts organization. We founded it in 2020 when the world had kind of freaked out. We were all kind of, I won't say paralyzed, but we were wondering what the future would look like because we were in the middle of a pandemic, a global health pandemic. And we were also at the start of one of the largest civil rights movements of at least our generation, certainly of our generation. The murder of George Floyd was kind of the last straw in this series of events that made it clear we could no longer talk about race and violence and history, at the local level, kind of everywhere. So that was happening in 2020. It was no different in Indianapolis. This was June, and at the time, Babe was working at United Way. He was the director of the Social Innovation Fund, which was a new $1 million fund that he led to, eradicate poverty. I don't know.
You got it.
And my career's been in the nonprofit scene, in arts and culture, and then I had 3 years in private real estate. I got to engage the community and tell the story of the former GM stamping plant site, which we named Waterside, a $1.4 billion redevelopment, downtown's largest. And so I was at the end of that journey, which was a kind of big chapter in Indianapolis, and then we were here in 2020. Our phones are ringing, our emails are going off. People are asking, what is supposed to happen? Like, Molly, haven't you been talking about the arts helping with race stuff? What should we do?
Yeah, I also had a column at the time for the Indianapolis Recorder called Bacon Bits, where I was just talking about all the stuff, even before, the stuff popped off. So it felt more natural that people were just asking us at the time as far as like, what does that word equity, mean again? Or just like, what is the way forward? They was asking Babe to write, the diversity plan. And she's like, I asked you to do that 5 years ago.
Which I'd been asking everybody for like the last decade.
No. So
but they finally understood its value at that moment.
So when the earth stood still, I mean, I think a lot of people just went into this, mode of thinking because the pause, was there. And, if everything in 2020 was about what separates people, we knew, art and culture would be the thing to bring people together, but also just like the way forward for so many other things. That's why Gang Gang and just everything that, you see that has produced has been able to withstand like these moments, because it was bigger than, what that, moment was as far as like the mission. And we wanted, to provide this pathway, not just for, elevation of the creative economies of scales, but also like culture and truth and storytelling and what makes cities like beautiful and equitable and cultural and all the things, man. So I think it allowed us to have the window to bounce through to really have this work magnified
and to try something at like I remember Chris Gall saying, you guys were made for this moment. I know that was like a tagline, but like you guys were made for this moment. And it felt like we weren't like reacting to now all the asks, should we do the black square? Can you write our diversity statement? Like what should happen? It was like, okay, we can ask ourselves, no, actually, what should happen? Yeah. Like genuinely, actually, let's stay up all night, figure it out what should happen now. And the arts and the artists and making a city value its culture there's no other answer. It was so big that we came up with Gang Gang that night, and we knew exactly what to do. And this was the moment that we could get people to understand it's the artists, it's the infrastructure. Like, you have to center that for a more equitable city. And so Gang Gang is the arts org that is working for a more equitable city. And we wanted to use Indianapolis as like, I called it a hypothesis or like our test subject, like a place where we're saying, hey, if you do this, this will happen. And so that's what we've been doing for the last 6 years.
And a lot of people my bad. You're good. A lot of people like really zone in on butter because that has been, we're in Forbes and the New York Times, just all this stuff, but it's this amazing, this amazing fair. But, that same year, 4 months before, we were the creative directors of March Madness. You know what I mean? So that was like a first really huge test on a big scale where we had over 600 artists and performances that happened within like a 4 week period, man. So I think we think about what this thing was built to do and to be responsive in moments. I think that's like a good example of what we were built to do, just how it's been able to withstand and also to answer the bell when things like that come. Yeah.
So how far into Gang Gang did you come up with the idea of butter?
The winter of the first year.
Yeah, December. Yeah.
Yeah, December. And we said something about it publicly February, which was much sooner than we thought, much sooner than we planned.
Everybody we asked told us not to do the fair.
Well, not the same year that we talked about it. Yeah, it was very ambitious, as Gang Gang has been.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, putting on an event of that scale is not...
An experience. We don't use the word event.
Experience. I love that even more. Experience. To put on an experience of that scale is a juggernaut.
Oh my gosh, what are you talking about?
And you also are reinventing
like
how you would deliver that experience in for the participants, et cetera. So let's talk about that a little bit, because the way you launched and designed butter is very different than other experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to us about that. Like, what are some of the non-negotiables in how you were going to do this differently?
Yeah, right on.
And how people respond to that, because you went from like hadn't done it ever to what the first year was thousands, but you went quickly to 10,000 the next year or something, right?
No,
about
year
like
three.
Year three,
Yeah.
But that's still rapid scale.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, 1,000.
So talk to us about that. How you designed it, your non-negotiables. What and then who told you? You don't have to say the names, but I'm sure people said, "No, you can't do that. That's never going to work." So talk to us about that. How'd you persevere through that?
I like that question.
Yeah, I think one of the key questions that we asked ourselves, like, what would be an experience that we want to go to? So a lot of what butter is just like shit that we like, but for me, being a background as a artist and musician, I wanted that to be centerpiece. That's why year one we had this big ass DJ booth in the center of the fair, and there was that that correlation with the other aspects of music and the right. So March Madness actually was a good precipice for that. We have over 25, 30, 40, 50 DJs that are hitting over the course of the weekend. So taking some of the paradigms, and even prior to March Madness, we had the kickback where we actually were able to like test things on a much smaller scale. But yeah, when it comes to butter, I think it's a beautiful question. But a lot of it was just like according to our taste and just what we thought was missing out of these experiences. Yeah.
Okay. So non-negotiables, tell me if any of these you don't agree with. I wrote down love, but it's like the feeling that the users, the attendees, leave with. We're really intentional about, I guess, service and the feeling of care and welcome, and that we made this for you. Offering 100% of sales to the artist is a non-negotiable. That's the thing about butter. Artists ask for what they ask for, and so the least we can do is give them 100% of that. This is a Black Fine Art Fair. It's for artists that represent the diaspora worldwide. We're committed to 50% of those being from Indiana, and 50% from around the world. But this one is about the diaspora. We're committed to excellence in design. We're committed to the art itself, the experience, the install, the care of the artwork. We're committed to the multi-sensory environment. Some people think of butter as like a cultural festival. People even call it a festival, but it's the multi-sensory. It's the DJs, as you mentioned, and the performers, and the conversation stage, and the pop-up dancers. Like, we're committed to the context that makes people want to linger, and that makes people want to inquire more about the artwork. And then involving community has been at the core of butter, and that can't go away.
And also 18 and under are free. That's another core as we look at just the next generation of artists and entrepreneurs and creatives. How are we pouring into a system where, in traditional education and academia, you don't see it as strong anymore. So as art is moving out, how can we move it, back into, children's hearts and minds? So butter has been a great, way forward and tool for that.
How'd you come up with the name Butter?
Babe names everything. He's a good namer.
It's man's hooping in high school. You hit a shot, you just say butter. That's it. Didn't make a lot of shots, man. But that's
analogy. I like that.
That's where it came from. Shout out to Indiana.
Similar to GANGGANG, we were looking for, again, labels or names of these efforts that not just weren't traditional, but that invited you, even invited curiosity, and maybe even challenged you with the word itself. GANGGANG, we had to explain a lot the first 2 years, and it was awesome to explain it because we could tell people what gang means, which is people on a journey together. That's the definition of it. And so the way that it's used to criminalize groups of Black men is false. And so gang is working because of what it means, because it is attracting people on a journey together. And so Butter's the same. We wanted to create an art fair that felt warm, inviting, and familiar. And people like butter. We like butter, and it felt like it matched those
butter's
things.
healthy.
Everybody has a
Butter
relationship
is
with butter.
healthy.
You know, there's different properties to it. Butter spreads, you know.
That's right. So, all right. So just so for our listeners then, so the main mission of GANGGANG versus butter, and I want to go deeper into butter too in a second.
Okay.
Just like the business model and scaling it and those kinds of things.
Sure.
So with the main mission of GANGGANG versus butter is, can you talk to us about that? And is butter the delivery mechanism?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Butter is a tactic.
It's a tactic.
Yeah. So if GANGGANG is out here trying to make cities equitable by way of the arts, it's got all these different ways it should be doing that. It should be talking about it mainly. You know, it should just be talking about the worth and the value of artists and what they contribute. And then it should be having programs and projects and writings of all sorts and publishings. Butter is one of those things that it incubated, you know, to say, okay, like, here's an idea. This could work for narrative change and for economic justice and for civic pride, you know, for tourism, all these things. So, yeah, think of it as a tactic or, a program that GANGGANG incubated as in its attempt to come up with ideas that can make cities equitable by way of the arts.
A similar idea was I May Rock and Roll, which was a festival that celebrated the creators of the genre of rock and roll music and allowed there to be just learning and education to help develop just the understanding of history, but also a way that, you know, can celebrate that brings people together versus, you know, what we've seen, you know, some genres, you know, be that I guess thorn in the side of what is community. So I think, you know, tactics like that and, you know, programs like butter and, you know, how we see just this work manifesting, whether that's being creative directors for NBA All-Star or helping Westfield tell their story of their history of their Underground Railroad that a lot of people don't know through this amazing public art piece. So I think there's so much that we, you know, see this intersection of these tactics supporting the work. And butter has been, you know, one of those like most successful, you know, tactic that we've been able to deploy and scale.
So what is that strategy then of butter? Is that 50 cities, 6 cities? Like, how do you think about that with that business model and scale? Because you're in you do Indianapolis and LA.
This is a very real-time question. And you just said, how do we think about it? How do we think about the city thing? Yeah, so maybe 2 or 3 years ago, we were thinking, and people were asking, so what other cities is butter going to go to? And we're like, how are we going to get to Chicago? Like, okay, so how does this happen? And then the Los Angeles community invited us there. And even that took, 18 months at minimum to visit and kind of make sure it was okay.
Build, yeah.
Yeah, to build. And 30 days ago, if you would have asked us what cities are next or what's next or whatever, we would have said, okay, probably one more U.S. city and that's it. There's Indy, there's L.A., and maybe there's one more U.S. city, and then maybe there's one city that's not in the country. There's been a lot of interest from U.S. cities in butter, and so I don't think we'll stop at 3. And so we are figuring out now, after LA was a really wonderful test case, how it might help other cities.
Yeah. So when you're looking for partners, right, whether it's here in Indy or you go to LA, et cetera, and these other cities, have you figured out yet, or you think the sweet spot is, and like how like who those partners are? Like to be invited to LA, that's just massive, right? Because now the rope's being pulled, you're not pushing the rope.
Oh yeah, talk about a non-negotiable. We'll never enter a city or descend upon a place and say that they need us. That wouldn't be. Yeah.
So you're looking for those open arms, welcome with open arms, and so what's the real driver? Is it the corporate community or is it the nonprofit community?
Who are we hearing from?
Yeah.
Oh man, and that's the thing about it. Yeah, and I think
great.
Yeah, you have some cities and places where maybe there's the louder voice is philanthropic, or maybe like another city is public. But so we've seen just how I don't know, and that's the power of art, right? I mean, it's in everything that we do, whether it's the city work, public work, private work, philanthropy. It's everywhere. So we've been fortunate enough to, grow the mission here in Indianapolis, but also, thinking about scale and taking it all the way to the West Coast. Every place in between, knows about butter and just kind of what it can do, but more importantly, why it exists.
Yeah. So, when you go to butter, that experience, did you expand the experience a little bit in LA, or have you kept it pretty much at its roots the way you first built it? Like, what all do I experience when I go to butter? Of course, you have artists.
Oh,
right?
just at any butter?
Yeah, to any butter. Like,
we kept
how's it different?
Butter in LA was it kept the footprint or the kind of layout from the Thursday through Sunday model, and having the exhibition and the conversation stage. So it was butter. I actually cried about how butter it felt. But
I didn't cry, no.
Well, you asked what did you ask?
when I go to butter, what all do I experience?
Oh, just at any butter. Yeah, what happens at butter?
It's the same experience, man. So you have
But if you've never been, if you have no idea,
yeah,
no, for sure, yeah. So visual art is the centerpiece. So I mean, that is the amplification of the event, and it's really you would kind of that's the headliner, but having that and the mission of butter is to really be intentional about the care of Black visual artists. Artists from the diaspora and their economic viability. So what does artist care look like? What does economic viability look like? How are we supporting that? So I mean, you have visual art, but then there's music, a part of it. Then there's fashion and there's clothing. There's every sensory aspect that you could think of. And that's, I think, the importance of butter. If you think of when a full culture of people landed here 400 years ago on ships, they didn't just take visual art. I mean, they took the spoken word, they took fashion, there was the music, they separated families. So butters is one of those opportunities where you see that the density of that dynamic come together. Yes, visual art is the centerpiece, but you get the full experience. And that's why I think, butter is so moving in a way that, we even had this moniker or mantra that you can be yourself here, because it really does, attract people in such a non-monolithic way, where you can, really kind of expand, what is togetherness, what is identity, what and how should you feel when you attend experiences. I think, butter is able to, uniquely carve out a space that has been special enough where, there's other cities and people asking for the same type of experience and mission.
So what's the journey been like as a married couple?
Right on.
Have you had other businesses where you had a business partner?
Have I had other businesses
where you had a business partner?
No,
not really. What do you mean, not like a business partner?
Have you had any other businesses?
No, I mean, not really.
So I was just curious if you had what the differences and the different challenges and uniqueness, of being married versus just a business partner.
Oh, just regulars.
But what is that journey like? Is it 24/7, or do you hey, babe, at 7:00 tonight, it's gang and butter off, and it's family time? Or how do you manage that?
Most of the time it's 24/7. Yeah. Maybe fortunately, unfortunately, right? It's like the blessing of the curse of working together is we can work all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, terrible. But we are getting really good at, and even this week we did two things. We protected our space after butter, and so we are definitely going to have 6 days of non-work time. As I hear myself, that doesn't sound that good. I'm like, okay, so in late September we have 6 days, and we blocked off hours. We do block off hours as we did this weekend and said from this time to this time, it's non-work stuff.
Yeah, I mean the groovy part, man, is that we're married and we get to do this work, and it means a lot. And that's really it,
most
man.
Of it.
Yeah, I mean that's most of it. So it's all the other shit is just regular, just job stuff, at times. But I mean, yes, of course, there's this opportunity that we're working all the time. We're 24/7, or there's always 1,000 people, and there's always something to do or respond to, or just whatever. But and sometimes we just gotta force to shut it down, like you said. It's hey, it's 7:00, man. Let's catch a movie. Let's maybe sit down and take an exhale. But we're getting a lot better. Taking care of ourselves.
If that's the hard thing, I'll take that hard part.
Fuck yeah.
You know, because like so many times.
Is there cussing on this? Mom, are you bleeping this out?
Well,
okay.
I think it adds a little flavor.
Is there cussing on this? But like at least maybe like I should do it more often, but maybe once a week or so I'll glance and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm in a meeting with my husband. Like so cool. You know, like I get to stare at him all day.
Yeah, you feel me?
That's
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah,
like
yeah,
what else, you know, so
He's
the
a
hard
good-looking
part
guy.
is
Come
we
on,
have to figure
man.
out when to stop working, which is a very hard part.
Yeah.
But like, okay, you know, that's the hard part.
Yeah, it's groovy, man.
I'll take it.
It's
Yeah.
groovy, yeah.
So are there any moments that stick out where when I see kids show up to events, experiences, when I see kids show up to experiences, there's like nothing that makes my heart warmer. I just love it when we're exposing the next generation to just things in life.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any moments that you've had in the last 5 years of this, or 6 years of this journey where there was a like a moment of like, oh my gosh, can you believe we just got to do this with one or all of our children?
Oh yeah, right on.
Definitely. Butter 5, I remember that. But I don't think Chase was there.
No. Chase is our oldest. He's what, 21
So
now?
we have 4 girls, 1 boy. The boy's the oldest.
Yeah.
But all 4 girls were at Butter 5 last year, and we were all enjoying the performance stage together and in LA. And I remember thinking, this is so cool. Like, just like they're here. They don't think it's dumb.
I know, but like, hey, we've had to work really hard, man, to be cool to them. Like,
right.
Well, I don't know if we're cool to them.
Man, listen, like
you will be soon though. If you're at 21, like
they know,
I wasn't cool from like 12 to 14 for sure.
We could do nothing. Like, bro, we've been everywhere. You know what I'm saying? We just started getting some cool points from the kids like last year. So,
but they came and they enjoyed it, and they got dressed on purpose.
They're asking for merch.
They love to be, hang out with it was just so cool to see them enjoying something that we didn't force them to go to, and we weren't even with them on 10th Street when they were dancing. So anyway, that's awesome. I remember that.
The babies.
So time flies when we get in these conversations.
Is it time?
Yeah.
Wow.
But the good news is I have some rapid fires.
Do you? Okay. All right.
So we can go a little overtime here.
Okay.
How fast are you going to go with the rapid fire? Is it like
it can be one word, or you can talk
fast.
as long as
all
you
right,
wish.
let's do it. I'm ready.
And you can say pass. You can answer a different way. However,
we can pass it.
Okay.
Is this like drink champs?
It's drink champs. Yeah.
Chamber.
Every answer is a right answer.
Take a shot of water.
So it's whatever feels right, and you can both answer these or pass it off or however you want to do it.
Okay.
So, what is, and this can be with any walk of life, your professional life or personal life, whatever. What is one thing that you think people should either start doing or stop doing?
Start reading more books.
Damn, I was going to say reading too. Same. I'll say start reading.
Yeah.
I was going to be more descriptive and say the Bible.
Stop doing?
But that was it though.
Best book ever written.
Yeah.
Man.
Totes.
I got baptized April 20th of 25. Recently.
Wow.
Amazing.
I want to talk about that.
I'm in the process of reading the Bible.
Where are you?
I'm still early on.
Okay.
I don't do this. I'm trying to do it every day, and I don't get every day in.
Yeah.
But then some days I'll try to make up for it and read more.
Yeah. Wow.
It's fascinating. So if there was one thing that you think lends itself to disrupting, we all get comfortable with whatever we're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if there's one way to help take us out of our comfort zone in the effort of disrupting ourselves, innovating ourselves, to think differently or to act differently or to do something differently, what would come to mind? How would we best disrupt ourselves?
Relentless commitment. I think it starts on the inside. Like nothing else is getting you up to go fight for anything, so you have to be committed to something and be relentless about it first. And then it's easier to magnetize people on your journey.
Yeah.
I think unlearn. You got to unlearn some things.
That's powerful. That's like a mic drop moment.
Well,
totally. That is a good one.
All right. So my last rapid fire is if you could wave a magic wand and solve anything in the world, what would it be?
Oh, what would I solve?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we not saying, systemic racism? That's the question. That's so interesting that we're not. That's not the fastest answer. So what is it then?
For me, it's the absence of truth.
The absence
Erasure
of truth.
I would. That's the biggest issue. That's the biggest issue and problem right now in the world.
He's on fire.
Is there's no truth.
You're right. Well, there's a word like erasure. Generally, is how.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Wow. So somebody's commitment to ignorance is what we would need to dismantle.
Love it. This has been amazing. How do I get involved with GANGGANG or Butter? Right, for all our listeners out there, how do we track you down? Get involved. What are your favorite ways for people to get involved?
Become a donor, become a volunteer, become an ambassador.
Yeah.
So tell the truth, shame the devil. Tell the truth, pay the artist. But become a donor of GANGGANG and or Butter Fine Art Fair. And volunteer. There's so much to plug into.
So where do I go find GANGGANG?
GANGGANGculture.com.
And Butter
IGs are websites now, I feel like. So it's also GANGGANG Culture on IG.
So GANGGANG Culture, IG, website, Butter, Fine Art Fair.
ButterArtFair.com. IG is also Butter Art Fair. IMadeRockandRoll.com. IG is I Made Rock and Roll.
Tickets on sale right now for Butter, Labor Day weekend.
Please.
That's here in Indy, right?
Yes. Butter is happening September 3rd through the 6th in Indianapolis at the historic Stutz building. It is our 6th year there, proudly in the Indiana Avenue Cultural District, and we would love to see everybody there. Everybody there. If you're in town, it's 4 days of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So everybody, you heard it here. You just got a personal invitation from Malina. By the way, do you prefer Malina or Molly?
I'm most familiar and used to Molly. I'm getting more comfortable with Malina. I like it.
All right. Awesome. Anything else I didn't ask you all about today that you want to make sure the world knows about you personally, about your business, about culture, anything at all?
Oh, gosh. Say it. Whatever came to your mind.
Oh, shit. I was like, man, what am I going to eat? I saw
culture is all around us. There's more that's sacred and serious than we usually consider.
Yeah, I had a Homer Simpson moment. I was just thinking about something like what was
That's
dinner
wild.
tonight?
Where is dinner tonight?
Yeah, I was
I don't know. It's Monday, so it's with the kids. But we are those relentless advocates. We are, founders that are committed. We don't have a plan B. We don't have another mission. And we are just looking for more people to join the gang.
I love it. That is another mic drop right there.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful talking to you.
It's been absolutely amazing.
Thanks for the invitation, man.
Totally enjoyed it. Molly, Alan, thank you for joining Innovate or Evaporate.
Thank you.
And until next time, we'll see you soon.